black one.
Oh, oh.
Oh, right, that thing again. Consent.
That stupid football team. What football team?
That super blue football team from I was going to say from Pennsylvania, but I guess you can say from New York too. Although
I
to all
assume
those Bills
Pennsylvania.
fans out there, I'm not referring to you guys. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to find out what happens. I like my tables.
So,
Your tables. Oh, that's great.
I wanted to say things out loud so that I remember. One thing I thought about is we didn't actually explain what a schlub was last time. There might be people who don't know what a schlub is.
Explain it right now. We're live, so do it.
Oh, are you gonna include this on the thing?
Oh yeah,
I told you.
yeah.
I'm just starting it. I'll remind you like maybe one more time
Okay.
after this, but we're just
Well,
going.
you can still cut shit out if you want to, right?
I could.
Yeah, but this is the banter. This is what the people
Yeah.
are here for, right?
All right. Well, a schlub is a Yiddish word. Yiddish is the language that the Jews of Eastern Europe spoke. Most Americans who are of Jewish heritage, including myself, are descended from those Jews. And so schlub basically means bum. It's kind of just like a lazy, sort of doofusy, kind of dirty kind of bum. So that's what a schlub is for anybody who was wondering.
And to be clear, that is you, right?
I mean, I'm not actually really like a schlub. I think, weren't we joking that Matt is probably closer to a schlub? Matt, didn't you say that?
I
Or am
will
I
not
putting
confirm
words?
or deny saying
Am I
that.
putting words in your mouth? Oh, anyways, I'm considered the schlub in the title because I'm the only one of Jewish heritage here, and you guys were the only jocks. I mean, I never played sports in school, whereas you guys both did. So
You
that's
threw
the
a mean slow curve though, and by mean I mean not mean at all.
I'll have you know that it was fucking nasty, and people could not hit it.
Okay.
You maybe could, but most people couldn't. Most people in that league.
That was like when Mike Buckmeyer said that he threw the ball as hard as he could, and I hit it into the parking lot at SRS. I was like,
Yeah.
it didn't matter. I could hit whatever I wanted to when I was 12.
Well, right. Well, it's all about levels. Like the league where Matt and I played against each other, my pitching was able to be really good against most people, but people at Matt's level obviously could still hit me and could hit my curve, but most of those kids couldn't. So,
Domination.
domination. I still remember your homer against Waldo when we went to that tournament when we were undefeated that year.
Yeah.
I
Thought
still
we were
think
going to
about
win that game.
I know. I remember because you let off the game. That was the very first at bat of the
pitch.
game.
First pitch.
Yeah, first pitch. And I remember in the dugout, like, our team was so fucking pumped, dude. And we were like flying high. We're like, oh, we got this. And I think didn't you get like the only hit of the game? Maybe there's one or two.
Maybe
maybe
we had like 2 or 3 hits total, but
Yeah.
and I think Waldo ended up hitting homer too, and it just went downhill from there.
Yeah.
But we were pumped up for a second.
For a second. It was just I just remembered like the range of emotions is so funny. Like that after that first at bat, so happy. Now we're gonna have to pay for the rights for that, so we're just gonna.
Oh crap.
Yeah, sorry,
We
Bruce.
didn't get too far in, right? That's less than 10 seconds or whatever. That was Grungy Days by
Grungy Days.
Juice Sprungsteen and the D Street Band.
There, perfect.
So good. All right. I'm going to dive into something real quick because Matt asked me before you hopped on. I'm sure you've already seen it too, but
Oh yeah, I didn't even like absorb it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got, for the people who are watching on YouTube, which we had quite a few people watch on YouTube. So
Really?
yeah, pretty. I'm going to give some stats and some talk about some things, but first I wanted to address my outfit today. The Phillies are playing the Yankees. Just happened to work out. Didn't even know it was going to be like this on the schedule. But my cousin Greg reached out to me after our first episode, and we had all the Goddaughter Talk. And I didn't mention my godson, Domenico, on the podcast, and he was upset about that. So, Domenico, I have this Phillies jersey on for you. I love you, buddy, but I hope the stinky Phillies lose tonight.
Now, I have a question about this because I saw Greg's comment about that on Facebook or wherever it was about Domenico being mad you didn't mention. What I want to know, was Domenico actually listening, or did Greg just relay this information? Because I distinctly remember dropping a lot of F-bombs during the Godfather conversation. I mean, really the whole entire time, but...
Hey, we put the rating on there. It's explicit.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's up to parental
Okay, so
choices.
if Greg let him listen to that, then that's fine. All right.
Yeah, and Ethan, don't worry. That I had people cite you as the passionate one, so
Well,
that's good.
I
Colin
mean,
was the professional,
uh-huh.
and they called me the glue guy, which I'm happy to be the glue guy.
I like that. Actually, I like all three of those. I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, we're 1.1 episodes in, so we'll see how it goes.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, so thank you for everyone who did listen. Keep the feedback coming. We're figuring this out. I mean, we're talking through what we want.
Yeah. So you want to hear some stats and some numbers and some chatter about things. I wrote all this down because there was a lot, and I'm sure you guys got more that you can add into this. So this is just what I got. First, I'll just give some raw numbers. We definitely had a good first week in terms of downloads, and we had just about the same amount in views on YouTube. And this is the first time I've ever put a video of any podcast. I've been podcasting for 3 years, and so I had an inkling that people were going to want to see us, but I guess that's kind of paid off. We have a subscriber on YouTube. We had a like on YouTube. So good feedback there. I was looking at the podcast today on Apple Podcasts. We already have 3 ratings, 5 stars, all ratings.
Oh my God.
So we are well on our way.
just to be fair, that it's not all us, because I didn't do that. So
I haven't subscribed or rated.
So it's not us. So that's good. That means they're real.
This is so classic too. Like, I doubt Ethan will ever listen to a single episode of this ever. Not that you need to listen to it, but I enjoyed, like, I was laughing out loud listening to us, and yeah, like, I'm closer to it, but I don't know. I thought it was good. So 3 5-star ratings already on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be in the top 100 before you know it. Okay, we've had a bunch of segment ideas already. Mutual friend Devin, who you all know from down here in Charlotte, is pushing very hard to have his own NFL segment when the season starts. And I will say to that, Devin, you are in the early lead based on being the only person to show interest in the segment right now. But you guys give me your thoughts on that at some other point. We had another good buddy, Jake Champagne, reach out and say that we should do a Sabermetrics segment for Dummies. I know you guys thought that was a real good idea. Maybe we'll get into that
today. Yeah.
Yeah. So those were a couple segments. Let's see. What else do I got written down here? I think those are the big things, honestly.
I mean, I'm all for the Sabermetrics for Dummies, and also, for forcing us to, like, an NFL segment's good. I guess bouncing around what's going on in the world of sports. This doesn't just have to be us talking about baseball. So
well, and I love the idea of having guests who are, like, more into other stuff than us. So, like, I'm assuming if Devin wanted to do that, I'm assuming he's, like, a huge football fan. So that would be awesome to have him come on and talk. Because I don't follow football that closely anymore, as you guys know.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's from New Hampshire, so I don't know how.
Pats, maybe? Probably Pats fan?
Well, I mean, I don't care what his fandom is, but I mean, he's from New Hampshire, so.
What does that mean?
Go River Cats, right?
I'm just trying to rag on him.
Yeah, I know.
He'll be texting me tomorrow when he hears
that's the only sports team I know up there, and that's probably wrong. Fisher Cats, maybe. I don't know.
Is that the double A or single A team?
Yeah.
He saw Mookie Betts play when he was coming out. Yeah, that's when he was still living there. So yeah, it's good. Cool. Good call there.
Yeah. So speaking of jumping into other sports, there's a reason I'm doing this, because did anyone else watch the Game 6 of the finals last night?
Highlights.
No one. Did anyone see Giannis or Thanasis Antetokounmpo get their rings? So they joined their brother Kostas Antetokounmpo. I practiced that like 3 times.
Yeah, good job, dude. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, you're better than some people on TV today. So
yeah. I practiced. I put the time in because I care.
That's why we're going to be a top 100 podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt puts in that time.
No, I just the thing I thought was cool is it's now all 3 Antetokounmpo brothers have rings. It's the first time it's ever happened in the NBA. But
that is cool.
The other thing was, and I watched highlights too, Colin. I didn't watch the actual whole thing, but just it's amazing to see Giannis just dominate the game the way he did. Like, they call him the Greek freak for a reason. Like, his arms are just so damn long. Like, he just, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in between him and the basket, he'll just reach around you. So all the highlights and the dunks and the blocks and him in the post is just nuts. And then when you factor in the last 2 years, he learned how to shoot three, at least passively. And it's like, wow, well, no wonder. So,
yeah.
And then just as another follow-up, if you guys get a chance to watch him, he posted a video on TikTok this morning of him going through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A, ordering 50 chicken nuggets, not 51, not 49, but exactly 50 to match the points that he scored last night in his NBA Finals.
Amazing.
Game 6. So definitely, I think one of the top closeout performances of all time for any sport. I mean, he was purely dominant. That was pretty cool to watch those highlights.
Yeah,
but
I'm so happy for him. One of the last things we did pre-COVID, me, Tim, and Toddy, while she was pregnant, we went to see the Bucks play the Hornets, and Giannis had a triple-double, just completely dominated. It was so cool to see him play. So I told Toddy this morning, I was like, you've seen another NBA champion in real life. So
pretty cool. Yeah. And now the other thing that was kind of unique is guys who are just playing each other in a very, very heated NBA Finals are going to have to don the same jersey and go overseas and start playing for Team USA. So just a couple interesting articles out there talking the dynamic there that, joking, they probably won't be friends, but at least they'll it's a little bit different atmosphere now. Going and representing your country. That is assuming the Olympics happen. I know if you guys have been seeing that, but there's some rumors about last minute cancellations. I don't know if that's, politics over in Japan or if that's a real potential possibility, but, I hope to make the right choice for the safety of everyone, but also it'd be cool to see the games happen after everything that's happened this past year. So,
I mean, okay, I don't want to bring everything down, but like, the Olympics, I mean, we didn't talk about this and we don't need to go in depth, but I believe, what was her name? Sha'Carri Richardson? Sha'Carri?
Yep.
The amazing sprinter who's like our best and who got disinvited because she tested positive for weed. I mean, and they also, the Olympics, or was it the Olympics, or is like some international swimming organization said that they would not allow these new swim caps that were made specifically for the hair of people of color.
Yeah, that was the Olympic Federation.
Yeah. Okay. So like both of those things. I mean, fuck the Olympics. Like, I don't give a shit. Are you kidding me? Like it's 2021 and you're gonna pull shit like that? Like, that's unbelievable.
To quote the venerable Robin Williams, the only way marijuana is a performance enhancing drug is if there's a giant fucking Hershey bar right at the finish line.
Exactly.
It's not there to, it's not there to give you any performance boost. It's there to, mellow you out. So the fact that, I mean,
it's insane.
I really hope whether it's the World Anti-Doping Agency or the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency rules are updated relatively quickly to reflect kind of changing feelings about marijuana. Now, the tough part is it's if it's WADA, if it's the World Anti-Doping Agency, despite their foul-ups with a lot of stuff so far, it's the World Anti-Doping Agency. It's everyone. So just because it's becoming more acceptable here culturally for us, it may not be that way elsewhere, which is a shame. Because you're right, I don't think it's performance enhancing. But Ethan, you can speak to more from experience than I can.
Right.
Wink.
I sure can. But you said that all very professionally. I'm impressed. You said that way nicer than me, who was just like, fuck the Olympics. But
you're supposed to do that though.
That's why you're the glue guy and I'm the passion guy.
Yeah. Glue guy, passion guy, professional, because Colin is the professional.
Right. So just sitting there quietly, letting us fucking ramble on like morons.
Well, shout out Gary Artman. Thanks for the listen. Thanks for the comments.
Sweet.
Yeah. We also had, that reminds me of another shout out. We had a basketball coach who, she said to me, she's like, I don't normally listen to things like this, but you guys kept me entertained. She was taking a trip from New York, like down to DC for a recruiting trip. So we're making waves with people who don't even like this type of stuff.
Well, that's impressive because we last time, I mean, what did we say it was like an hour and 13 minutes? And I think like 45 minutes of that was like pretty intense baseball statistic talk.
Yeah.
So,
But hey, I mean, we had the home run derby, the All-Star game going on. We had our Shohei and Mike Trout and all-time great baseball player talk. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
That's good content, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's wrong with talking about baseball?
No, talking about baseball is great. We just were going like hardcore into like the stat stuff pretty heavy for quite a while. I mean, we were talking, I think we were like talking WAR and just overall value and like the deeper level stats for quite a while. Look, when we were talking about DeGrom and stuff,
Yeah. I mean, we love baseball. Our logo that you had designed, Colin, is us at a baseball game. So
that's true.
I mean, just
was that one at City or was that at Yankee Stadium?
That was at City Field.
That was at City? Okay.
Yeah. Awesome seats. Stephen Colbert sings the national anthem.
Oh, that's right.
Yankees win. Masahiro Tanaka pulls both hamstrings.
I lost that prop bet.
What a good game.
Oh, the prop bet. I forgot about
that.
I lost that.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll make you pay up one of these days.
Yeah, can't wait.
Okay. So what are you drinking, Colin?
I am drinking an IPA from Lenny Boy here in Charlotte.
Is that like a Salinger reference? Not Salinger. Who's the famous book?
You thinking of John Steinbeck? Are you thinking of
Steinbeck? Yeah. So, okay.
I mean, the character is Lenny. I don't know. There wasn't any Lenny Boy that I remember, but I also read that like in high school, so I don't know.
I read it in high school because it was short. I picked it because it's nice small book.
Yeah, it's good but sad.
Ethan, you drinking anything?
I'm having bourbon again. I still haven't gotten any beer.
Look at that. I need to just send you some beer. I think I'll just do that.
You can. That's fine. I mean, I'm gonna get some. I mean, I live fucking 20 minutes from other half. I just haven't gone recently. I've just been busy and shit. So.
Well, I was saying the same reason Colin's wearing the Phillies jersey. I'm wearing the Bottlelogic hat because I've got a Bottlelogic coffee stout tonight called Red Eye November. It's gonna just like last week. It's 14%, a half liter. It's gonna be nice and toasty tonight. Got the glassware to match too. So,
dude, you're looking. I have to say, with your N64 shirt plus those headphones, you look like, and the hat with like the flat brim, you look like you're straight out of 1998.
Hey,
I mean, it's awesome. I like it.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I was just hoping I wouldn't look too John Boy tonight. So,
oh, is that his look? Kind of.
He'll do the flat brim hat. He's got the unkempt face. He's got a rounder face and complexion, kind of like me. Maybe I got a couple pounds on him, but it's all right. It's all right. Mm-hmm. For the show tonight, I got to do what I got to do.
That's right. Now, what else do we have on the docket? We talked about, well, Matt, do you have any more beer stuff that you want to talk about?
Well, hey, so I was joking with some folks last week because regarding the beer enthusiast meetup, but I did want to talk, like I did go to a beer share this past weekend. So it's for the uninitiated, us beer nerds really like beer, and it kind of like a Pokemon effect. Like we got to try them all. Like it's like, the app out there Untapped is like the worst creation ever because I just want to keep ticking. Like I want to keep logging all the beers.
Tell us how many beers you have checked in on Untapped currently.
Over 6,000, which is we'll get the exact number soon enough.
Very impressive.
But it's you never can drink them all, but I got to try. So anyway, I met up with a couple folks out in the Midwest for a good beer share. And it's exactly what it sounds like. We pick a place. Everyone brings some special bottles, and you sit around, you eat some tasty food, and you drink some harder to get beers. You don't want to just bring like Bud Light. You want to bring something that's hard to find. So I'll pull some stuff out of the cellar that's going to be fun to drink.
Bud Light. And
you literally we sat around the table, played with the dogs, and drank beer all night. And it was a blast. It's fun because it sometimes it happens. If you're waiting in line for a beer release, say you're waiting in line at the brewery, sometimes it can happen spontaneously there. Sometimes you get a bunch of people meeting up. Sometimes it's just three people. Half the time I have shares with the Artmans. Maybe you need to bleep their name. I don't know. Shout out Gary and Jen. Thank you. It's just standing in their kitchen enjoying some really, really good beers. But it's interesting because it's a culture in and of itself. There's etiquette rules, everyone likes the beer they've got. So you never want to shit talk anyone else's beer, even if you don't like it. You want to make sure like you want to be complimentary, but you also want to bring nice beer. You want to bring something that, you want to try to find something that's good that no one's had. You want to have a similar level of, let's say obscurity or of hard to getness, scarcity. Maybe it's a better word.
The Valedict. Hard to forgetness.
Yeah. So
that should be our news podcast slogan. Listen to us, this podcast. We are full of hard to forgetness, or something like
hard to getness. I said.
Oh, I thought you said hard to forget.
No, hard to get. So scarce, harder to find beers.
Hard to getness is good too. That's good.
Yeah. And but very like, I mean, I can't say I've ever had a bad beer with some of these shares. It was a blast this past weekend. We got to try some really, really neat stuff. And obviously the other part of it is you want to make sure that you're either at a place where you've got safe transportation, or you're at a place where you can go to bed and crash, because after a night of drinking beers that can get up to like 18 or 19%, you don't really want to be out on the road. So usually it's drink until the wee hours in the morning and then crash. But it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to more of this type of stuff now that COVID's kind of subsiding with the Delta caveat and all that bullshit. But
right, yeah.
Matt, what goes into the hunt? Like how I feel like you're like limited in some ways to what's in your certain geographical area. Like I know you can probably buy shit online and whatnot, but that can probably get way more expensive. Like how do you find beers after a certain while that you've never had?
Well, COVID has been great because it's allowed, states have opened up their laws for shipping beer and buying online. But before that, like for example, before COVID, you could not ship beer legally into the state of Kentucky. They had laws set up there to protect the bourbon industry. So they didn't want alcohol shipped into state. So there's a lot of restrictions there. So you are right. You're kind of at the mercy of what's distributed in your local area. And part of it is kind of being in the know with your local beer stores and bottle shops as to, when certain releases are going to hit the shelves, because sometimes a bottle shop may only get 6 bottles of something rare. Sometimes it's clicking the F5 key on your keyboard fast enough and refreshing so that when a beer is released online, you can buy a ticket so you can go pick it up at the brewery. And sometimes it's dumb luck. There's some really, really excellent Belgian beers out there that, it's imported with a couple specialty importers and distributors. So sometimes they just kind of show up at a store, and it may not be a store you ever expected to see them at. But when you do, it's kind of neat. And you got to be ready to pounce on it. In the case of the stuff I'm drinking tonight, Bottle Logic's in Anaheim, California, and they really only distribute in the state of California. So I got this in the trade, which is another kind of subculture of beer, of beer culture. Essentially, I've got this special beer here in my geography, and you've got that special beer in your geography. Let's figure out a way to exchange, whether it's people who pick them up during travels for work and can trade them in person, or there's a big culture of mailing beer to each other, which I know I've sent some beer to you guys, some samples. I just, maybe we need to bleep that, Colin, because technically you're not supposed to really send beer through the mail. But you can do some exchanges with people if you've got something they're looking for. And there's communities set up all over the place. There's Reddit groups, there's Facebook groups, there's Instagram groups, there's sites like Beer Advocate where they've got forums where you can set up kind of what trades you want. And again, the negotiations are kind of interesting because everyone values their own beer maybe higher. Everyone thinks that they put in special effort and they took all this time and effort to get their own beer. So it's always kind of interesting because you'll have some people who are really strict about, like, I paid $30 for this, I want you to send me something versus $30 or that's worth $30. And then there's another camp that's like, well, this, I only paid $30 for this, but it's really hard to get and it's very limited, so I value it at $200. So you need to send me $200 worth of beer. Which, yeah, Colin, your expression there is exactly right. Like it's very, very tricky, especially when you get into secondary market and the secondary valuations. And the same can be said for wine and for sneakers and for bourbon. You know, it gets messy out there, and there's nefarious players out there taking advantage of people. But if you find a good group of people that aren't looking to screw each other, it can be a really, really fun pastime and an addicting pastime. And as you've seen with my beer cellar, a very, very time-consuming and resource-consuming pastime, but also very fun. It's something I enjoy quite a bit. So Ethan will get you up here one of these days. And Colin, the cellar has grown. I was storing like 6 cases of beer with my friends because I wasn't sure I could move it with the movers when I came from Kentucky to Pennsylvania. So now I have those 6 cases back, and so now it's even more overflowing down there. So you guys need to come up and help me drink all that stuff.
No invite needed.
But I've talked enough about beer, so I need to swig some of the beer I've got right now, and you guys can start talking.
So we're gonna talk. Do we want to do like Sabermetrics for Dummies? Do we want to?
Well, I figured I could at least do an intro with you, then Colin pipe in too. But essentially, a really good intro is going to Netflix and watching Moneyball with the lovely Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. But the whole idea is Sabermetrics is a statistical system developed by Bill James, kind of focused on finding value in players that may be overlooked. So looking at value with pitchers and value with hitters in terms of run generation or run prevention, and really looking at other factors instead of the standard batting average, home runs, and RBI. Let's look at other things. Let's look at how often they get on base. Let's look at how good they're actually, pitchers are at preventing runs. Let's look at stuff like park factors, where we're going to normalize the parks across the league, because baseball has all different stadiums. Some stadiums are better for hitters, some stadiums are better for pitchers. So if you're comparing a great hitter at a pitcher-friendly stadium versus a great hitter at a batter-friendly stadium, well, it's not an even comparison. So how do we level the playing field and actually see how they compare to each other? And so there's a lot of different avenues out there to make those comparisons. And I don't know. What do you think? We tackle maybe 1 or 2 of those statistics a week.
Yeah, I mean,
talk through what it does.
Yeah, I had like a specific one that I wanted to do today.
Yeah, start us. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and actually, I'm inspired by the StatCast broadcast. So, for those who don't know, on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, I don't know if they're doing it every time, but they're doing it occasionally. There's an alternate broadcast called the StatCast broadcast. Okay, StatCast is an organization, an entity, whatever, that does like insanely detailed record keeping of all of these stats, what we call sabermetrics or analytics, whatever you want to call it. And it's really nice. For those who are curious, I highly recommend the StatCast broadcast. It's like a regular, typical broadcaster, like play-by-play guy, former major leaguer, doing like the color, and then like a guy from StatCast who kind of will talk about the stats and everything. And in this case, it was Mike Petriello, who's well known in that world. And it was interesting. So he was answering questions that he was getting occasionally throughout the game that he was getting on Twitter. And one of the questions, and this is what I wanted to talk about, was like, why don't you care about batting average, basically? And so I figured this would be a good place to start, because it's so basic, and because there still is this aura, there still is this sort of mystique with batting average, right? Like when we think of batting average, we still can just picture 406 in 1941 for Ted Williams, right? We can see these things so viscerally. We can see Ty Cobb 367 career batting average, the best all time, right? Like there's so much history there and so much passion, right? And so a lot of people have so much value on that. And so the idea that it maybe doesn't mean anything anymore can be hard. But let me try to convince anybody who's skeptical. What Petriello talked about is what OPS, which is not that complicated, but I want to talk about that anyways, because I think it's an easy way to get into it. So the first thing you need to understand, batting average does not take into account walks, and it doesn't weigh the differences between singles, doubles, triples, and homers. Okay, it's just no matter what kind of hit you get, that counts as a hit, and that's that. And it doesn't include walks at all. Okay, OPS stands for on base plus slugging. So on base percentage plus slugging percentage. So on base percentage obviously is exactly what it says, including walks and hits and whatever. It's the percent of times that you get on base. And then slugging percentage weighs the types of hits that you get. So you get more points for homers, for triples, for doubles. Okay. So any baseball fan or staff member who's really trying to see, okay, who's actually better, who's a really good hitter here. If you're really trying to measure actual offensive skill, OPS is just infinitely more valuable. And frankly, batting average is garbage. Like you really shouldn't bother with it anymore at all. The only reason to is again that history bit that I was talking about. And us three who have loved baseball so much all our lives, there's still, like I said, there still is that sort of mystique. But it doesn't matter. OPS, however, is going to tell you how often is this person walking and getting on base. Are they hitting a lot of extra base hits? Are they getting a lot of doubles, triples, and homers? Do they actually have some power? Are they making good contact? So OPS is just telling you so much more. So next time you want to check out some player and you want to get a general idea of his offensive skill, go right to OPS, and that's going to give you a great idea right off the bat. You don't even need to look at anything else. Just that is going to tell you a lot. And just a frame of reference, 800 is like good, 800 OPS, 900 is great, 1,000 is like amazing. That's like top notch.
You answered my question there. I was just about to ask, what's a good OPS? Because kind of everyone knows, like, 300 was a good batting average. Like if you're batting 300 or above, you're a good hitter.
230 is a good batting average these days.
But yeah, 280 or above is like,
yeah,
the new standard because everyone stinks
right
now.
And 400 is like a really excellent on base. Although these days even 370 and 380 are very good for on base. For slugging, 500 is really good, 600 is great, 700 is amazing. To give people another idea, and this is a more historical thing, and it does take into account batting average, but you can kind of look people up, and there's a rare season that hasn't happened that many times in history. Relatively speaking, it's happened plenty of times, but in all of history, not that much. So if one player has a 300 batting average, a 400 on base, and a 500 slugging, all in the same year, that's like a really, really great accomplishment and doesn't happen that often. Now, again, you can take the batting average piece out of it. Doesn't matter. So if we take that out, 400 on base, 500 slugging, that's a 900 OPS, which, as I said, is excellent. So that was what I wanted to say. I don't know if you guys have if you have other stats or anything you wanted to bring to the table, but I thought that was a good one to start with.
I don't know, Colin, anything you want to talk about?
Well,
or do you want to say that we can, like, because I'm envisioning going into stuff like, batting average on balls in play, like that, BABIP. That was one that, like, I struggled with for a long time, but
in weighted runs created plus, like I want to get into some of the deeper ones eventually. Ooh, but I want to start with
we'll start bit by bit, little by little.
Yeah. I think it's a good introduction. Here's my 2 cents. The first cent is a really good comparison, maybe for people who listen to podcasts. A lot of people who listen to podcasts maybe do their own podcasting. Batting average is the equivalent of download numbers. It doesn't tell the full story. You can download a podcast, but it doesn't mean you actually listened to the podcast. And if you listened and you download it, it doesn't tell you if you listened all the way through the podcast. So it just is this really vague number. So podcasting, in terms of stats and the way that they monetize, is in the 1950s, whereas baseball is in its glory days right now with the amount of data. My second cent is to, I guess, frame the reason why sabermetrics and analytics as a whole are so important is because it helps front offices understand value when it comes to players. And value, whether the old school baseball people like it or not, is the most important thing in baseball right now, because value ties in directly to revenue, ties in directly to payroll, ties in directly to the luxury tax threshold. And that is team construction to a T right there. And so this is why sabermetrics matter. This is why the details and the nerdiness matter, is because the front offices, the people making the decisions about team construction, about what they're going to pay players, is based on these numbers. And we can have separate discussions at some point about, how, like Theo was saying, how it's leveling the playing field like way too much, in the sense that we have robots playing these days. Like everyone plays the same way because the data tells you to play one way that can make you a lot of money. And so everybody tries to replicate their game that way. Whereas like previous to Sabermetrics, there were a lot of different variations to style of play within the game. That's a whole different conversation. But the point is that Sabermetrics matter. They shouldn't tell the full story, but they matter much more than the old school baseball people will lead you to believe. And I don't know what to tell them at this point, because it's not going away. Maybe they're going to change in terms of the way that they're going to be used. But if you want to watch baseball in the 21st century, in 2021 and beyond, these are terms and these are things that you need to learn. And they're also things that are going to tell you, whether or not your team is going to maybe compete for a title, the way that they're constructed and put together. Like, it's all important, relevant stuff. So that I just wanted to frame like why it's so important, why we talk about all these and we argue about them and everything. Like it there's a reason for it, a pretty legitimate reason.
But they're also the reason that people under 30 don't want to watch baseball anymore.
So, but see, I think it's the slowness of the game. I don't think it's the stats.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all.
It's 30, dude. It's at least 30 seconds between every fucking pitch. You guys know I love baseball. I've loved it my whole life. It is unwatchable at times.
Yeah,
well,
all sports.
But also, Ethan, again, people with launch angle and with strikeout rates now, you're going 4, 5, 6 minutes between balls are even put in play.
Right. That too.
So again,
absolutely.
I tie that back to sabermetrics. I say that, if guys are going to adjust their launch angle and try and either hit a home run or strike out every time, because the new thought process is strikeouts don't matter.
But that
I don't think anybody actually thinks that though. But Colin, you go.
But the change in style came as a result of sabermetrics and the value that's placed on hitting home runs versus hitting singles and not striking out a lot. People would rather people hit a lot of home runs and strike out a lot. And so like I see what you're saying, Matt, but at the same time, what I was going to say before that is it's more the pace of play that turns people off, because like I was just looking at it today, PFF in football, like all these other sports have these analytics companies that are trying to replicate what baseball has done really fucking good to this point.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure that out for their sport. So like, it's all coming for football. It's all coming for basketball. Like there's going to be a day where the rotation of the basketball and how that helps Steph Curry hit his threes and everything like that's coming. So
no. You're stealing my next point. Yeah. There's you can already see it. You're hearing new terms in the NFL, like air yards per attempt.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Like, before last year, I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
So that, you're getting beyond basic efficiency ratings in the NBA now. You're getting beyond kind of the traditional stat keeping measures in these other leagues. Now, one thing as I was thinking through this, I need to reach out to a couple friends because I have no idea if there's anything similar happening in hockey. I bet there is. There's got to be, but
do we know anybody who's like a diehard hockey fan?
I got a couple. I got a couple college buds.
I'd have to dig deep.
Shout out to my friend Nader Fatui up in Boston. Probably the most knowledgeable hockey guy I know.
He can come on and do a hockey segment sometime.
Well, I'd love to have him on. He's the guy that actually got me into sabermetrics. The genesis in my freshman year of college. He was the one that kind of educated me on that. Before I started talking with it, about it with you knuckleheads. But yeah, we're nerds. So, I can talk about this stuff all day, but I am interested in potentially talking about it in other sports too. Because it is, you're right, Colin. At what point do people become robots? At what point does the game not become fun anymore? Or, hopefully maybe in some sports, the opposite happens. Maybe it makes things more exciting. I don't know. But
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see kind of how things unfold over the next 5-10 years, because I feel like it's super, super intense and it's been growing and growing for the last few years. And I feel like it's almost maximal at this point, right? Like you were saying, like every front office is using all of the data that they can and kind of have similar approaches, which is understandable. But how will that be How will that be moving forward? Is it going to stay the same? Are some people going to branch out, focus on different things, pull back a little bit because maybe the results aren't what they thought they were going to be? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Definitely kudos to teams like the A's and the Rays who, with shoestring budgets found ways to make
that's the other piece.
Big budget teams like the Yankees look silly sometimes.
Yeah, that I wanted to say that too. Colin gave a great frame of the whole thing, right? And one piece I would add is that the reason that this is so important in baseball and that it really made headway in baseball before other sports is baseball doesn't have a salary cap. There is the luxury tax, which was introduced in recent years and does serve similar analogous kind of purposes, but there's not an actual salary cap. And so your big budget teams in baseball, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, blah, 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 their payrolls are like 180, 200 million a year. Okay. Oftentimes, right? Whereas teams like the A's and the Rays, 40, 50, 60. So we're talking.
I think the Indians this year are one of the lowest. They're 49 million, I think.
Okay. So we're talking about a massive, massive difference here. And so, we brought up Moneyball earlier, right? That's what Moneyball was all about was, okay, we have this super, super limited budget. We have 100 million fewer dollars than the Yankees. How are we gonna make a competitive team? Well, we have to find value in players that other people are missing. And how do you do that? You use fucking technology, because we're able to quantify things that we never were able to do before. So,
well, and what's maddening is teams like the Rays and the A's are good every year. And even if you get to the All-Star break and it's like, the A's are in fourth place, like blink and it's September 1st and they're in the pennant race. And it's like, you kidding me? Like, damn it. Like, and same with the Rays. The Rays have been like a thorn in the side. And again, as much as I like that rivalry right now, holy cow, man, they're a pain to play. They're good. Mm-hmm. And it almost feels like, and I know this is just me, being a victim here, but it almost feels like they're like designing their team just to beat the Yankees, because they beat the crap out of us. It seems like, on a yearly basis.
Yeah, it does seem like that recently. Yeah,
but it's just me being as Colin said, sometimes I can trend toward the toxic Yankee fan. It's okay though. It's okay. I want to see number 27, 28, and 29 and 30 by the time I die.
Didn't we already
seen
27?
27.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I got a 28, 29, and 30. Yeah, there we go.
Don't hold your breath.
Hey, they're tied right now with the Phillies, so you never know.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna interject real quick so we can get our featured sponsor in here before I forget. Back to Protagonist here in Charlotte, North Carolina. As a reminder, so last Saturday was the birthday bash for David. The Hoff birthday bash. David Hasselhoff. That was a lot of fun. This Saturday is the first annual cornhole tournament, and there is that $500 grand prize still eligible to win, and actually signups end on the 22nd. So as you're hearing this podcast tomorrow, hopefully you still have a chance to sign up if you get in there quick. In addition, on August 1st from 1 to 4, they are partnering with Skip Town to throw a birthday party for all shelter dogs, and they will have dogs available for adoption too. Yeah, I thought you guys would like this. So anyone who adopts a dog will receive a goodie bag with treats and other swag. One vet will also be on site with their mobile pet clinic, providing free pet checkups. So we'll push this out on social media too with the poster and more information, but definitely I'm sure it's on the site too. Check that all out. August 1st is the date for that. If you're interested in that, and we'll remind people on the podcast next week as well. But that's the update with our featured sponsor, Protagonist. Matt, Ethan, anything Brewing, you want to say?
Right? Protagonist Brewing in Charlotte, North Carolina, for people who don't know.
Yeah, no, Protagonist Brewing down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I got to work on my commercial voice, but no, I am looking forward to getting down there and checking them out.
Yeah, me too. They sound like they are fucking just awesome people. They sound like they're running a really cool thing down there. So next time we're in town, we're definitely going to hang.
They've got a beer called Manny, Colin. That's not a Manny Ramirez beer, is it?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, they're big sports people, so it could be. I'd have to look at it and see if there's anything that I can glean from it. But I don't know.
They've also got an IPA on tap now called the Danks Obama, which I get a
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So it better be nice and danky. So nice and hoppy and danky. But
that's so good.
One of these days we'll try it out in person and actually I'll be able to give a review myself. And of course, ticker's got a tick. I'll check it into my app and make sure I get it in the quest to drink all the beers.
Right. And I told you that one of the owners is a fellow Ohioan. What do you call yourselves when you live out there?
No, come on. I'm still a New Yorker. I've lived in New York the most years of anything, but I think Ohioan makes sense.
Yeah, but as an adult, though, I feel like living as an adult counts for more than as a kid. When you're a kid, you don't know, you don't care. But as an adult, there's like a sense of identity. You lived in Ohio as an adult for like 10 years. Are you guys
saying you consider me from Ohio?
No, but I think, well, when you were living in Ohio,
your identity is.
Yeah, and I think if somebody had asked you where you were from, like your 8th year in Ohio, it totally would have made sense to be like, oh yeah, I'm from Ohio.
I'm glad you nonchalantly said no, because if he said yes, I'd be injured. I'd just
you'd be injured.
That would hurt. That would really hurt.
Uh-huh.
I still say I'm from New York just because I spent the most years of my life in New York. But
sure.
But I guess Ohio is number 2, and you're right. It was 2007 to 2017, so it was a good good time, good state, good people. I miss it.
I think you had a better run than LeBron did.
That's good.
I don't even know how to respond to that, Colin. He got the championship and then buzzed out. That's all we cared about.
Yeah, but you got to see it. So
yeah. I got being in that city for that event was phenomenal. Although I'll give you one guess as to where I was that night.
Studying.
No, not studying. I was on the couch doing work.
Oh,
like the 3 guys I lived with were all like, "You gotta come downtown," and I'm just sitting there like, "Oh, I got work to do." And then you look up and it's like, "Oh, they might actually win." Like, you know, the whole self-deprecating Cleveland sports. We're hopeful, eternally hopeful, but never actually confident in our own teams. You know, it was touching. Yeah, every year, just the hype they had over stuff like the draft, or like I had a coworker who every year, and opening day was a big deal for baseball there, and every year, and he was a deadpan guy anyway, but he'd stop at my cube and just go, "Matt, 162-0 starts today," and then just keep walking without even waiting for a response. That was Wild Bill, one of my old jobs. But so the eternal optimism was always touching. The excitement for what were perennially bad teams was always nice to see. And frankly, the fact that I could go and see an Indians baseball game for $7 was also wonderful too. But you know, anyway, I digress. I miss that city. I miss Ohio. I will give you guys that much.
Fair enough. All right. So I've got one last thing, and then you guys drive it the rest of the way. I got a game for us to play, and I'll tell you what the game is, and I'll give you my results first, and I'll let you guys look up what your although some of it is going to be pretty easy. You'll just need to find your birthday. So anyway, you need the question was the best baseball player born on your birthday has to get on base to save your life. Who?
Oh, Pedro was born on my birthday. I said Pedro, but I didn't hear the rest of the question.
Yeah. Listen all the way through.
I stopped listening because I'm a fucking moron and I have terrible manners. Keep going.
Exactly. Okay, so I'll say it again. The best baseball player born on your birthday has to get on base to save your life. The pitcher he's facing is the Game 1 starter of the World Series champs the year you graduated high school. Do you live to see tomorrow? I will tell you who the pitcher is because we all graduated the same year. Is Josh Beckett.
Josh Beckett. Okay.
So what you need to do is look up who the best player is, and it could be somewhat subjective because you might have good people. My birthday was a terrible day for ex-Major League Baseball players to be born. I do have one Hall of Famer born on my birthday. His name is Billy Hamilton, and he last played in 1866. So
oh my God.
So I don't think I would have lived to see tomorrow in that case. I think Beckett probably would have won that matchup.
Yeah. Now, did you find like a whole list of people born on
Yeah.
Ethan,
So I
baseball
Googled,
reference. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but how?
This.
Where do you go?
just Google your birthday,
Players
baseball player born on
October 25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be right at the top. Baseball.
Yeah, that's
reference.
right. I remember your birthday.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Matt's September 29th, so he's gonna get the first birthday bash on the podcast. It's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Well, I'm telling you, September 29th was not a good day for it's not a good day for baseball players. Highlights from the list: Shelley Duncan.
Woo.
Oh, there we go.
He could hit a homer though.
Yeah, but I mean,
I've got to
I
go.
wouldn't want him
Billy
getting on
Hamilton.
base. I think
So you're dead, huh?
I'm dead.
Do you not have a Hall of Famer?
No, the highest WAR, and we'll get into for you listeners. We'll get into that later in our Sabermetrics talk.
Unit. Yeah.
The highest WAR I've got is 38. I'm dead.
Oof. Yeah,
and that
you're
was
dead.
38 back in 1862.
Wow. Okay. So is that the end, Matt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, who would you choose though? Who's the best hitter that you can see on your list?
I would choose Johnny Johnson. He played in 1914 for 2 years, and he had the highest on base percentage of anyone on this list. I'd go with that.
All right, that's good. All right. So first thing is the best player born on my birthday is Pedro Martinez, who obviously, as we talked about this actually last week, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, and I think we all agree in our opinion the greatest 2-season stretch of all time for any pitcher. But anyways, since this scenario involves somebody having to get on base against Josh Beckett, I have Juan Soto. So there we go.
Oh, you jerk.
I'm alive, baby.
You jerk.
Juan Soto. Yep. I got Juan Soto and Pedro. I got a good birthday for baseball players.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Smokey Joe Wood. He was pretty good back in the day.
I don't even know if I've got anyone on this list that I recognize. Like,
Yeah, mine was a bunch of no-namers too.
Wow. That's so funny. You would think there have been enough players that like every single birthday would have some like really, really great,
Or at least someone
player.
worth noting.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I mean,
even if not a Hall
Billy,
of Famer,
Billy
like,
Hamilton's a
great
Hall of Famer, but he played in 1866.
Yeah,
like,
that's bullshit. Yeah.
when you first said Billy Hamilton, I was thinking of like the present era Billy Hamilton,
Right.
who's
Super fast.
terrible at getting on base, but once he is on base, it's super fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was a fun game. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
good.
interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realize at first when I read it that it had to be from the winning team, because I was like, well, how do you pick who the pitcher is then? Because obviously there's two pitchers that start the game. And then I read it again and I was like, okay, well, the Red Sox won in 2007. Then I was surprised that it was Beckett. I thought it was going to be Lester or I don't even know who I thought else it could have been, but I had forgotten that whole trade had gone down before then. And that's
he was really good for a couple of years there.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was pretty good from 03 to 09.
I think
10.
he was up and down. Wasn't it him that was like really good on odd years? There was somebody who was like really good on odd numbered years and was like kind of mediocre on even numbered years. I feel like it was Beckett, but I might be misremembering.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Speaking of John Lester, anyone see the home run he hit the other day?
I think I saw the highlight of that.
Like a 420-foot home run to deep center.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
I didn't even know he was still playing.
Yeah. Probably still can't throw to first base, but
Who's he on? Is he on the Cubs?
the Nats.
The Nats. This is way late. This happened like several weeks ago at this point, but I don't think we talked about it. I assume you guys saw the highlight of the Fernando Tatis, like the double jump thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like pretty fucking wild. I mean, it's not strictly a double jump like you would have in a video game, but it's about the closest thing I can imagine an actual human being doing to it. It's like really pretty cool to watch.
It's just an optical illusion with his legs.
Yeah, but it still looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Come on, are you going to be the rain cloud over me? Jesus.
No.
I'm the one who actually appreciates it. Yeah, it's just cool. It's cool to watch.
Oh, that was pretty cool. I mean, yeah. Seeing sports close back to normal has been has been fun. Seeing highlights, seeing people in parks, seeing kind of the joy out there has been fantastic.
Except for the Yankee COVID breakout, that's been
real
shitty.
That's shitty.
Yeah. Although some guys are coming back, I think, starting this week. Although at this point, fuck it, leave the scrubs in there.
There was somebody on the roster. I looked at the box score like yesterday or the day before. A name I've literally never heard before. I was going to ask you guys.
Yeah, they had a AAA catcher called up to replace Higashioka.
Okay, maybe it was
and since DJ LeMahieu, because the Yankees don't have enough problems. He was out yesterday with a stomach virus, so they had their backup catcher playing first base because they have no one else to play there. So
amazing. Oh,
one of your cornerstone positions where you can put a big guy who can just swing the bat. They've got a backup catcher from Scranton who's bounced around to 6 teams in the majors. But again, they were passable.
Rougned Odor batted third last night.
He's batting third tonight, bud.
So that tells you where the Yankees are right now. And don't get me wrong, he has some pop. He can hit homers, but he can't really do anything else. If you want to talk about, OPS, I can go and find it, but he's not exactly a good all-around offensive player.
He's got that Didi swing though. Like when he hits it, he knows it. He just flips the bat away like Didi used to.
The one the other night was a bomb. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. But the fact that he's hitting third is
I'm in Philadelphia now, and so since the Phillies game, it's blacked out on MLB TV. So I only get the radio stream. And John Sterling, the longtime Yankees radio broadcast announcer, spent about 5 minutes talking about how they were last in the AL East in runs scored, which it's the Yankees, and they're last in and one, like second to last in all of the AL in runs scored, which is just it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is bad. This is really bad. But they've won 8 of 11.
Yep.
So
which is still have time miracle to turn it around.
Yeah. Considering the roster, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
But the sad part, the rain cloud there, Ethan, is even though they've won 8 of 11, I think they picked up like a total 2 games on the Red Sox or something like that.
It's a pretty deep hole. I mean, if we'll see, I trust in Cash. We've obviously debated Cash. For those who don't know, Brian Cashman, the Yankees general manager. Us three, we kind of debate about his merit a decent amount. I'm still, I think, I'm fully in the camp of Cash. I totally trust him. And you guys can chime in after this what your current thought is. But this deadline, I think, is going to be pretty huge. If he can pull the trigger and make a couple really, really good deals, that could be the difference between like an actual good second half that puts us in contention and one that doesn't. I mean, I might be overrating it, but it seems like we probably have to at least try. It would be my guess.
Yeah, I don't know what the fix is, but I am in your camp that I trust Cashman is doing everything that he can, no matter what those 3-day-old Twitter Yankee fans will tell you. And I just don't know. Theo was saying how, he doesn't think that you should be in a position like this longer than 10 years. Like it gets stale. And obviously Brian's been with the organization pretty much as long as we've been alive. And he's been general manager above since 1998. So a very long time, but I don't know who does it better or who aligns more, I guess is the more important part, with Hale on everything. And I don't know. It's the whole spoiled thing. Like you would think that we've lost 100 games. And when I say we, I'm talking about the Yankees. You would think that the Yankees have lost 100 games for 20 straight years, the way that some fans complain about it.
I saw, and then continue. Sorry, one quick interjection. I saw a little headline the other day from one of these like popular Yankee blogs. I think it's like Yanks Go Yard or Bronx Pinstripes, one of those or something. And the headline was like, Brian Cashman should be fired for the Giancarlo Stanton trade, but here's why he won't, or something. And I'm like, that's just so fucking ridiculous. Like thinking that this brilliant career should be ended on that one trade. I mean, it's just insane. And also G is like really good. Yeah, he has trouble staying healthy. So does fucking everybody. And you know what? Here's the thing too. The
finger wagging.
The biggest problem with the Yankees this year, other than the injuries, which is just shitty luck, is underperformance. Like like what Colin's talking about is exactly right. The roster coming into this year, the roster was fucking stacked. We weren't worried about this team. It's underperformance. Glaber has been horrible. Gary up until the last couple of weeks, horrible. G has been big time hit or miss. DJ LeMahieu has gone back to what he was prior to 2019, which who said that was
Same
probably
here.
going to happen?
You and I were and I were in alignment.
Hey,
Matt loved
he
the
still leads the team in hits. He still leads the team in hits.
Still leads the underperforming team in hits.
The thing. Yeah. It's all about the underperformance and the bad luck of the injuries. That's like the biggest thing. So like so saying that just because of the G trade he should be gone, to me is like kind of a crazy overreaction. But anyways, sorry, I digress.
Well, we're getting close to that hour mark.
Yeah.
So I was gonna steer towards our pop culture topics again.
Let's do it.
Oh, I forgot we did that last time. Yeah.
So we talked about live music last week, and I had an opportunity to go see a band I really, really liked last night, but I couldn't go. Like I'm getting old now. I can't just go out there and see bands all the time now.
Hey, we're all the same age.
Yeah, but I'm old.
He works like crazy hours and everything.
Dude, I have a kid.
Yeah,
fair enough.
You know,
yeah, I'm the one with the cushy life right now. Actually,
so just I love this band, Electric Six. They're goofy, they're weird. If you Google them or YouTube them, they've got some pretty wacky music videos and some pretty wacky songs. But they're essentially nonsense music, and their whole point is they've stated they only care that every song that they make you can dance to is pretty much all they care about. But anyway, they were in town last night, and it's like an hour and a half away. I didn't want to go and drive all the way to the north side of Philly to see them, but I bought a ticket anyway, and that was going to be my PSA. Is I bought a ticket anyway to try and support them. It's got to be tough being a touring music act right now. I got lucky enough that the music venue they were playing at up, and I think it was Sellersburg, Pennsylvania, actually live streamed the show. So I actually had to buy a second ticket for $10 to see the live stream, but I was able to sit home and get some stuff done at home and stream it on my TV at home, which was a blast. So I really did enjoy that. But Electric Six, I'll come for you at some point. I don't know. They're playing in Baltimore tonight, so obviously, podcast duties come over Electric Six, unfortunately. But I will see them. I've seen them over 30 times. I can't wait to see them again.
Wait, it's been that many times?
Oh yeah. Oh
my God, I didn't realize.
Oh come on! I've seen them in Canada. I've seen them in all up and down the East Coast, all around the Midwest, up into Wisconsin. Seen them in Chicago. Seen them in Detroit a couple times.
What's the name for this? So basically, you're like what Deadheads were for the Grateful Dead. What's the name?
Mm-hmm. They just call their fans crazies.
Crazies. That's it.
Yeah, because and there are some really weird fans out there, but I enjoy the music. The musical stylings of Dick Valentine, their lead singer. His actual name's something different, but Dick Valentine's his stage name, and I don't know. It's just fun. It's a way to escape and let things go. So that was my PSA to everyone, that remember that it's despite whatever hardships we may have had or experienced these past year and a half for COVID, it's got to be even harder for people in the performing arts realm. So support them any way you can. I felt bad because I wasn't there to buy beer and support their earnings that way, but they got a ticket out of me and they got the live stream revenue too. So
I yelled at everyone about this last week on the podcast, so I'm sure everybody immediately went out and like bought tickets. So for various
maybe that was like maybe you inception me. Maybe it was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, because you were so much nicer about it. You're like, yeah, it's been so hard for performing arts people. Like, really try to support. And last week I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Buy a fucking ticket, go. So that's good though. That's appropriate. That tells the story. And one thing actually I will add on to that, Matt, you mentioned the live streaming thing. This is another thing. Like, for those who don't know, this shit's happening like all the time now. There are a ton of shows that are doing live streams in addition to their actual in-person live show. And generally speaking, like the ones that I have seen have been really, really high quality. Like, these companies are taking it seriously. The tickets are not expensive. The sound quality, the video quality is really, really good. Totally worth it. So.
Yeah, for me, it was $10 for a show that's in a pretty far out Pennsylvania suburb in a tiny theater. Really well done. Like they had 3 or 4 different camera angles. The sound was great. The feed was great. It was I was very, very happy with it. I was very happy to have paid that as well, and could sit home and get some stuff done here, not have to drive an hour and a half up and an hour and a half back, and still see my favorite band out there.
Yeah, that's great. There is one, we don't have time for it now, but there is, I think, one request, a heavy request that we did not address this time.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. Maybe we do that next time.
Uh-oh. Why am I drawing a
Trevor
blank?
Bauer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That'll come eventually. I mean, that'll be a.
Yeah.
I'm already anticipating your rant on Trevor Bauer, Ethan. Like I'm already, and maybe we can dial into Colin, because Colin's our Twitter expert here. Trevor's got a very prolific Twitter history out there.
That's true. Right.
There's also, like, Trevor's got his own stuff going on. Whether you want to talk about like the kind of the spin rate sticky stuff that's been going on this year in the majors, or he's got a pretty shitty Twitter following out there that actually went after a couple of his critics on Twitter, and it was pretty ugly the way things ended there. So
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a really meaty segment out there on Trevor Bauer.
Okay. We'll have to dig into that.
I think we're gonna have to get the pulse of the listeners to see how deep they want us to go into this web, because this is nothing new. He has been a lightning rod for a long time,
he's polarizing,
and
right?
he's in a pretty tough spot right now, to say the least. And we can, I guess, figure that out in future episodes. But we've heard the request from people, and we're considering it. Maybe we'll get to it next time.
We should.
Maybe we address it once Pasadena police are finished with their investigation.
Yeah, I mean, we could wait, but who knows how long that'll take. I feel like if we're not talking about like the actual like important newsworthy shit that's going on, like, I mean, we're gonna be talking about baseball probably more than anything else in terms of pure time. If we're not talking about the shit that's like really in the news and is kind of important like outside of baseball as well, I feel like we should. I feel like that would be kind of weird not to. So,
agreed. All right, say goodbye to the podcast.
Goodbye, podcast.
Goodbye, listeners.